Big Si.
Big Ben. Someone's already stole your name, haven't they, Big Ben?
Yeah. I caught you off guard with that one, didn't I?
Yeah, Big Si.
How's it going?
I'm doing well, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Been 4 years since our last interview.
4 years. Yeah, I was looking at the video this morning, actually. Time has gone. I mean, whether it's gone fast, I don't know. But 4 years is a long time, isn't it? A lot's changed for both of us, I would imagine.
Oh, yes. Right. We both look so young as well.
Still, you mean, or in the video?
Sure. Both now, indeed. Cool. So, what's been happening since our last interview?
Quite a lot, really, hasn't it? You know, back, what was it, 2019, was it?
Something like that.
It's pre-COVID, wasn't it? So back then, Dropship Formula, so my training program, you know, that you were a member of and then became a coach of, has grown from strength to strength, really. Back then it was quite in its infancy. I think I'd only just come back to the UK after living abroad for many years, and I was like, right, time to knuckle down, time to get this business off the ground. So 2019 started off fairly slowly. I think the course hadn't even finished. I think I was still developing it 2019.
I think so. We were doing some beta testing, and then maybe it was just after that.
Yeah, because you remember the beta course, wouldn't you? Yeah. You was just starting to get some traction, 2019.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, right? 2020, beginning of the year, it was like, have you heard about this disease coming from China kind of thing? And I was like, oh no, I'm trying to start a business here. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, then lockdowns hit, and it was like, I was panicking for a little while, thinking, I'm just starting this business, and what am I going to do? People aren't going to be spending money. And then, you know, the realization then was that actually shopping is forbidden. You know, we can't go out, we can't go to the high street, we can't shop like we used to. Our choices are limited. Everyone's stuck at home. Things aren't as bad as I actually thought. So 2020 was a big catalyst for me in Dropship Formula, not just for me, but for all the students as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sales went mad during that period.
Yeah. It was not easy money, but you've got a captive audience, hadn't you, at the time, which made it great for online e-commerce, and it pushed e-commerce and boosted e-commerce forward in trajectory, as in, you know, over the past 10, 20 years, e-commerce has been escalating. It's been getting bigger and bigger. And forecasts, you know, were the same trajectory. But when COVID hit, the trajectory of the growth and the adoption of people buying online shot up.
Yeah.
You know, and it gave e-commerce, for a short while anyway, a big leg up in, you know, the amount of people that were buying online, and people had never done it before. So, and you testament to this, you're probably getting people that had never purchased anything online before.
So, yeah.
But they had no choice.
Yeah, and I remember some phone calls with customers where they were maybe a bit older.
Yeah.
They weren't used to the whole online thing.
Well, those people have retained that now.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
It is actually safe and secure. I can actually spend 500, 600, 700, 800, even over £1,000 on something, and I'm backed up. I'm guaranteed. There's recourse if I'm ever scammed or whatever, right? Obviously, I'm not teaching that kind of stuff, but their fears, people that are perhaps older and never used online or never purchased something online, have that fear of like, oh, it's online, it's the Wild West, when in matter of fact it isn't. So people that had previously never used online, never bought anything online, did it for the first time, and now they still carry on doing that. So yeah, I mean, and then after that, you know, it's e-commerce has just carried on really, and what the element of e-commerce that I teach, dropshipping or high-ticket dropshipping, is able to survive in hard times that we're perhaps seeing now. Yeah, it can weather this storm much easier than bricks and mortar businesses because it doesn't have the overheads.
Yeah.
So, although there is some fear in the economy and There's fears of recession, although I think last month figures said we actually had economical growth in the country. A tiny bit, yeah, but it's there, isn't it? It's, we're not having the recession that everyone thought we were going to have.
Yeah.
E-commerce can survive that compared to, larger businesses that have much more overheads. They have staff, they have rent, they have insurances and bills and all that kind of stuff to pay.
Well, we're seeing it on our high streets, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. My local town high street, is slowly disappearing. It's condensing.
Yeah.
It's not as broad as it used to be. It's condensing down into certain areas of, like, fashion seems to survive because people want to try clothes on and things like that.
Sure.
But other kind of retail, perhaps buying lighting or buying certain elements of furniture or whatever, tools and whatnot, is slowly condensing down, I think, and moving to online and staying that way.
Yeah, it's either the retail parts, isn't it, or commerce where everybody's going. Which works for, Dropship Formula, doesn't it?
Yeah, it works for what I teach. It works for the people that adapt their business model and follow what I teach, and people looking to start an online business. It's such an it's such a low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
That, you don't need to be thinking about, right, where's my premises going to be? How much stock do I need? So, how much money am I going to have to pay up front to even start this kind of business? You can do it all online. You never have to buy stock. And you don't have that risk of doing this as you would with traditional, opening a storefront, even a marketplace, right? You still need stock.
Mm.
So yeah, I can't see dropshipping dying for many, many years. I can't see anything that's going to replace it or surpass it. There'll be other ways of fulfillment, so other ways of getting products to people. But I don't think, having an online e-commerce business and selling other people's products and brands that you're authorised to sell is going to go anywhere. I think it's going to just be more and more adopted. And we're seeing that outside of the UK now. When I first started, what was it, 2013, 2014? Wow, 10 years ago now. Trying to explain the business model, trying to get brand owners, suppliers or whatever to work in the way that I wanted to work. Mm-hmm. They just didn't, no, we don't do that kind of thing. It was like, well, you do deliver though, don't you? You do have couriers and you do send things out. All I'm asking you to do is just change the delivery to my customer and not to my business premises. And, it was hard work. And I don't know if you ever experienced any of this pushback from...
I was right on the cusp of it changing.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, it was quite a new thing to them, but they were nearly always aware of it. And even some of them would say, oh, dropshipping, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that now the UK is fully aware, fully adopted.
Yeah.
I would say most niches now. You might have some businesses that I would rank as being premium gold suppliers that still want to maintain their relationships with bricks and mortar, and they don't want to upset the apple cart. They've worked with Sandra at XYZ Limited. They know about her kids and universities and marriage. They've got these personal relationships and they'll fight back against it. But it won't be forever, put it that way, I don't think. And what we're seeing this spread now to other countries, other European countries, Germany and Holland and whatnot and the like, that are coming along to the same kind of thing. All started in the US, and that's where I started.
I was going to say, it seems like it was the US first, then maybe 10 years later, 5 or 10 years later, we started catching up.
Yeah.
And then the rest of Europe were maybe a few years behind us. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, exactly that. Australia is now fully well adopted with dropshipping, but they've got such a large geographical area to cover.
Well, we're very lucky in that respect, aren't we? We've got a very high population within such a small geographical location.
Yeah.
We're very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, we've got a dense population, and things don't have to travel as far.
Yeah.
You've got some of the further North Scottish Islands and whatnot, that aren't as easy to cover, but most of the time...
Those orders are always a little bit annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I do recommend people just exclude it. Try not to sell there anyway.
Yeah.
Or at least have, exclusions in that it's mainland UK.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not like Australia. It's not like the US, where if someone buys from East Coast and you've got to deliver it to West Coast kind of thing, there's not that geographical difference that you've got to think, actually, this is going to cost a lot of money to get that product from one side of the country to the other.
Have you had many US students doing Dropship Formula? Is that
one guy, actually, because I don't actively market myself or promote my program in the US, but there was an English guy who lived in the US that bought, I forget his name, Honor or something like that, and he did well. But I like a lot of people, when they start and do well, they don't need my training anymore. They've got their business up and running.
Yeah.
They don't need to come back and watch the lessons. There's nothing new for them to learn, really. It's like just fine-tuning their own business, carrying on what I've taught them as this foundation. And
the stabilisers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you get going.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good analogy, yeah. Getting the stabilisers on, and once they're off and going, they don't look back. But yeah, I've had a couple of people in Northern Ireland, mainland Ireland, a couple of people outside of the UK. Not a couple, maybe a few. And you maybe remember one of the first, Branko and Andrea.
Yeah, I remember.
Running their business from South Africa, but selling in the UK. So registering their business in the UK, selling in the UK, doing all of their business remotely from thousands of miles away. And that's one of the beauties of it, right? But no, I don't actively push outside of the UK, because that's kind of my niche, let's say, isn't it? UK only.
Yeah.
I live here. I understand the buying habits of people here. We're not particularly like the Americans when it comes to buying. All right, we are getting a lot more. We do adapt a lot more consumerism, don't we, in our culture now than we ever have.
Yeah.
So we are following them in some nature, but they are much more larger consumers than what we are.
Yeah. And
you've only got to look at like behaviour of Black Friday. I'm sure you've seen those videos in the past, like people fighting over cheap TVs and the likes in stores, whereas pan to the UK and everyone's in an orderly queue, or not even turned up. It's like, oh, we'll go later, avoid the queues, kind of thing. So that's why I specifically target the UK now, is that I understand UK psyche, I understand our thinking, our culture, and the way that we do business. Whereas other countries do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, because there are quite a few courses that I came across before yours.
Yeah.
But they're all American-based. I don't know if there's many UK ones now. I'm sure there are some now. But I remember at the beginning, I think you must have been the first one to do the UK dropshipping.
Yeah, there's quite a few American courses, and that's where I started.
Yeah.
I started with a US course, but struggled. Good course, but just didn't have all the nuances.
Yeah.
There's nothing about VAT.
Yeah.
And registering yourself for a limited company and corporation tax and all that kind of stuff. Nothing in there, because, for them it's completely different. And MAP, I don't know if you've ever heard that term, minimum advertised pricing. We don't do that here in the UK. So the course that I took, the part of their criteria is, right, find suppliers that enforce MAP. So they enforce a set lowest price. You can't advertise any lower than this, right? Which is great. It keeps everyone on a level playing field, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If everyone's got a minimum price that they can sell at, it's either minimum price or higher. It's never going to be lower. Great, right? But that doesn't happen here in the UK. It's called price fixing. It's illegal. Yeah. So we need a different mindset And we need different criteria, and that's,
Yeah.
you know, why I stick to the UK and why I had to do a lot more work and a lot more study and make a lot more mistakes following a US course. Yeah. And then figuring that out and putting that all together into my own program just kind of made sense. I think, no, it wasn't you. I think it might have been Chris or somebody else that when I was a member of that course, I coached them, and then they were like doing one-to-one session like once every week or every couple of weeks, and they were like, "This is not enough, Simon. You know, why don't you do some coaching on the side, kind of thing." And
well, that is how I met you. I don't think we had a one-to-one, but I remember speaking a bit on the Facebook group for that American dropshipping and having the same issue. So I started a store.
We did have a one-to-one, I remember.
Did we?
Yeah.
For Dropship Formula?
Yeah, I'm dead sure.
Okay.
I was still in Bangkok at the time.
Okay.
I'm dead sure. Yeah. I probably still got the recording somewhere. After this, we'll have to dig it out and have a listen, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, someone who I was doing like on the side coaching with said to me, "Sam, you should make your own course. Put all this UK knowledge that you've gathered and experience that you've got into something." And they were like, "I'd buy it."
And so it wasn't even your idea. Somebody just gave you the idea to...
Gave me the push. I think it was always in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Because I in my background, and 4 years ago we talked about it a lot more, didn't we? But in my background, I started out working... I say started out, but I had a time in my employment where I worked for a training company. Actually in this building.
Was it?
Yeah. So this is how things have come full circle. Yeah. Yeah, I used to work for a company, and I think their office might have been next door. Yeah. Who had a training room here. And I'm going back to, 1999, 2000, millennium time, right? That we used to teach Word, Excel, Access and stuff like that to private individuals. Used to come on an evening, or we used to have like days and half days where people would send their employees. So local solicitor firms, even NHS, clinicians, doctors, nurses, all that kind of stuff, teaching them how to use email. I even used to teach a class on how to use the internet back in 99, 2000, how to use Google, using Word, Excel and all that kind of stuff. But I was saying this to someone the other day who was on a call. Those skills at the time didn't really mean much to me, but now that I've come full circle, all those skills that I had previously have compounded, and I use them on a regular basis now. Not searching the internet. I know how to do that. but Excel and Word and formulas and PowerPoint and all those skills that I gained back then when things were new. But that's where I kind of started with an inclination of being able to teach, figuring out that I was good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I took detours after that, but I have come back full circle. I've come back to the original thing that back then, when I look back, it was like, yeah, you should have carried on doing that because you were bloody good at it. And I enjoyed it, having the ability to take a subject or a piece of software that is complicated and complex, figure everything out about it, work that through in my mind, and then deliver that into a more palatable method or palatable way for other people to understand something that's complex has been something that I'm good at. It's kind of my superpower, let's say. Not always utilised it, but now I've realised that is my power. That's probably what I'm here to do, is to pass on knowledge that other people find difficult to understand or get their heads around. Yeah.
Perfect for DSF then.
Yeah. So it kind of like with the person saying, you ought to do this, kind of triggered in my mind. It's like, well, I've done it in the past. I've stood up in front of 30, 40 people and delivered a presentation on certain software topics and how to do something. I've done lots of one-to-one coaching and teaching with people. All right, I was an employee. I've never done it on my own back and run my own business to do it. But I had the skills. It wasn't something that I had to relearn. I had to perhaps put the training wheels back on it for a little while and, and get my confidence back and, get my mojo back in some way. But it all came back within a few months, those synapses firing again. It's like, oh, yeah, the juices are flowing again. Yeah.
Okay, so for people who don't know what dropshipping is, how would you explain it to them?
The basics of it is it's a fulfillment model. Fulfillment meaning when somebody purchases something online, how do they get that order and how is it fulfilled? So if let's say you wanted to become a dropshipper, you wanted to start your own e-commerce business, you would have to build your own website. You would have to get approved by suppliers of products that are already on the market. They're not new products, they're products that have sold, for years possibly. And you would advertise and generate customers through your website, right? Selling those brands. And then the fulfillment part of it is once you've got that order on your website, you say to the supplier, right, I've got this order for Mary Smith down the road, right? Here's the address. Here's your trade. Here's the price that you're charging me at, right? Trade price. Yeah, obviously you said sell it at a retail price, but here's the trade price. Send it. Bosh. You keep the profit. You never have to touch the item. The item goes straight from the supplier, straight to the customer. All you're doing is any customer service, if the customer's got questions about the product, or if after the sale, they might say, oh, I'm not sure how this goes together, or can I buy an accessory or whatever, right? You're the customer-facing element of it.
Yeah.
But dropshipping really is the fulfillment part of it. It's the fact that you don't have to build a business that holds stock. You don't need to rent premises. You can literally run it from your laptop in your bedroom.
Right. So when I explained this to my parents many years ago, I'm going to ask the question that they asked me, because I imagine lots of other people will be wondering this. What's stopping the companies who offer the service to you from doing it themselves? Why do they get you involved? Why don't they just sell the products?
There's nothing stopping them, but a lot of suppliers make a conscious decision that they don't want to.
Yeah.
Twofold. One, they don't have the skills to build the website, to run advertising, blah, 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 right? Their business is to house products, to find new products, to improve their products, whether they own it or whether they ship it in from another country or whatever. Box moving is essentially their business. Now, do they want to get into the online business? Some of them do, but they're not that good at it.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. Yeah.
They don't know how really to run Google ads, shopping ads. They might just stick £50 a day on a budget, but, is it actually running well? Is it generating good traffic? Or is a lot of that, £50, just a complete waste of spend? And then they've got the element of, right, okay, we're getting customers asking us questions here. We need someone that can do customer support. So, we can't do it because we've got to get jobs out of the warehouse and we've got to get this van filled and we've got to there's a stock coming in that we've got to unload and all that kind of stuff. So, right, we're going to have to hire someone else to both manage our website, do our customer support and run our ads. Whereas I teach you to do all those three things in one. I teach you how to do those things well. I teach you how to do them well. Yeah. Especially the ads, running the ads. I think that's the biggest thing is that, right, they might build the website and then if they get some organic, just basic listings from Google, great, they make a sale. It's more money in their pocket. But a lot of them don't run ads, or if they do, they run it poorly. And then a lot of businesses think, I don't want to do customer support. Why don't I just approve you, Ben? Right? I just approve you to be a retailer of it, and you can be the customer-facing element of it, and you can deal with the customer support. So I don't have time.
Yeah, because as long as they get the sale, they're happy.
All right, they've got to give away a commission. They've got to give away something to you, but they're doing that already with a bricks and mortar store.
Yeah.
So what's the difference in there? The only difference they've got is just where they deliver the product.
Yep.
Nothing else changes. They don't need any more staff. They don't need to change any more processes. It's just change where that's being delivered, and that's it. So, think of yourself as a business owner. If your business owner is doing well at box shifting, why try and change that? And if you are going to try and change that, what do you need to do? Right, we're going to need to, either I'm going to have to learn some skills or somebody else is going to have to learn some skills. And most of them will think, well, I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing. I don't want any more responsibility, And then hiring someone else that can do the job, that knows it. You try putting a job up for someone that knows how to run an online business. They're probably doing it themselves and they're not looking for a job.
Yeah.
Why leave your own business that you're doing it from home on your laptop? You've got a flexible work schedule. You've got a flexible working life. Why think, I know what, I'll go back to 9 to 5 and do it?
Yeah. For the week.
For the week, yeah. I mean, that brings in other subjects, doesn't it, of security and running a business. But, to answer the question, that's why I think that they wouldn't do it. Yeah, what's stopping them?
Tell us about your course. What makes your course better than the others out there?
So, my training program, Dropship Formula, can be found at dropshipformula.co.uk. It's an online training program where I will take you or anyone who doesn't have any previous knowledge from start to building their online high ticket. So high ticket, I think, is more of an American phrase, isn't it? But what high ticket means is high price products, dropshipping business. So not selling cheap knickknacks from China, not selling 10, 20 pound kind of stuff. The kind of stuff that you see these young kids advertising on YouTube. Yeah. Right.
I think dropshipping has got a bit of a bad reputation to certain people because of that very fact.
Yeah.
People sort of dropshipping from China.
Or arbitrage.
Yeah, yeah.
Buying something or setting up a store and or selling stuff from retail stores.
Yeah.
So like selling on eBay but fulfilling it from Amazon.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And you're only making £2 or £3 and you've got customers that are annoyed because they get a delivery and it's in an Amazon box and they go on Amazon and say, I could have just bought this, for £5 less.
Yeah.
No, it's not that kind of stuff. It's starting a real business, essentially, online. Starting an online dropshipping business. And the beauty with dropshipping is the low barrier to entry, as we've already talked about. There's not a huge amount of overheads and monthly costs that you need. You can get up and running to the point of running ads anyway. Minimum costs £40-50 a month, right, for your website hosting and email and the odd app that you will need, for getting product data to Google to start and run your ads. And then running ads, you can start as low as £300 a month. I mean, it's easier to generate more traffic and more sales, spending more, but that comes at scale, which you can do a heck of a lot easier as well because you're working online. If you want to scale a high street store business, you can't just invent more space. You've got to expand your shop somehow, rent another premises, right? Open another part of the country, change the premises or whatever, right? Whereas online, it's let's feed some more money to Google and let's get some more traffic in, let's get some more eyeballs, and we can cast a net right across the whole of the UK without being bound to a geographical area. So I take people from not knowing anything, I take it step by step. So talk about how to evaluate products, how to make that selection of what products, what criteria, UK specific criteria that I've obviously developed, building your e-commerce store, getting your store set up, getting signed with suppliers, even things like scripts to talk to suppliers and how to get approved and techniques of how to do it and how to combat any rejections you get. And then running ads, the biggest part, right? Generating traffic, getting eyeballs onto your business and and growing your business from there. Everything that I've just mentioned is covered in the training program. There's a huge amount of content. I poured my soul into the first version of it, and I'm currently working on the newer version, the second version. And again, I'm pouring my heart and soul into it, probably more than I should. Well, that's just my personality. I want it to be really good. And we also offer coaching as well. So as things have progressed, there's certain people that need a little bit more assistance than perhaps our members only area, right? A virtual environment that's not public, it's private, but it's group formatted. Everyone's in it. So you might not want to ask certain questions. You may want to keep them private. So I also offer coaching. I do some coaching. I've got other people that do coaching. You were a coach in a past life. So yeah, we have different ways of supporting people. I do lives as well, so people can ask their questions to me live. Do those in the evenings, Wednesday evening generally. Normally go for an hour, sometimes longer, depends on what questions you're getting. So I try my best, what I can, to support people to get their business off the ground and have a more flexible lifestyle for themselves. And also to gain skills, transferable skills. There's plenty of people that have come through my program and never done anything like this before, and perhaps worked in manual jobs or jobs that they were dissatisfied with or didn't like, and were able to get skills and knowledge and confidence and go out and get a better job and better themselves. Chris, who one of our coaches now, started off making UPVC doors and windows in a factory, and he was able to get out of that job to start his online business, generated over $1 million in revenue, and never look back. I've got people that do it on the side. I've got one guy who has a summer niche. He has a corporate job. He loves it. Absolutely loves his corporate job. Doesn't want to leave it. Loves the progression he's got. Loves the day-to-day camaraderie he's got with all his workmates, but he wants to do something on the side. So he does a summertime niche. He employs his mum to do customer service because she's retired and she's got nothing to do, and she used to do that anyway.
I've done that for a bit.
Yeah.
My mum. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did she enjoy it?
Yeah. She's great with customers.
Exactly.
And I was.
Exactly, yeah. So he does that, and he loves it. And he uses the cash to pay for a mortgage, car loan, and the rest of the year it's closed because people aren't buying anyway because it's only a summertime product. Or the guys that I know, or the people that have come on and then got skills and then gone and worked for other companies running their social media, running their ads. And I remember numerous different people, many stories I've got. Guy going to work for a startup company in London. They got seed funding. They needed someone to run their social media, run their ads. He'd got the skills, what he'd learnt from dropshipping. He was like, I want to do that. I love running ads. Dealing with customers and Shopify and that, doesn't really float my boat, but running ads and getting my head in all the analytics and data, I love it. And he went off and did that. I'm not sure where he is now, but I'm sure he's, doing great things. So yeah, to summarise, it's a training program that will give you a wealth of knowledge of starting an online e-commerce business, notably in the high ticket arena. So selling products over 300, 600, even higher,
Yeah, my average order was probably around $1,000.
Nice.
There was some sales that would be a couple of grand. Even one product I sold a couple of times was, I think it was around $5,000, which you just wouldn't have heard of before the pandemic, I don't think. I think it was when the pandemic kicked in, people were forced to, if you want to buy something online for a lot of money, that was the time to do it. And then
how did that make you feel when you saw that coming?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, it was great. That classic cha-ching noise and your phone. Yeah,
I always remember the coaching call I had with Phil when he sealed a $12,000 order.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing feeling.
Yeah,
I relive that first sale because there's nothing like your first sale. First sale is always the best, isn't it? You know, that first ching, that first order.
Yeah, it was great.
You know, a lot of them don't turn out to be that great, not that profitable, but it doesn't matter. You still remember where you were, what that feeling was like, you know, and I relive that now. I get to relive it. Yeah. I had a coaching call with the guy the other day, David. He made his first sale. I was like, I've not posted in a members group, but I will do, you know, but I made my first sale. I was like, yes. Like, I thrive on it. And that's why I do this.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy seeing people learning new skills, understanding complex subject matter that I've been able to distill for them, but then also the enjoyment that they get and the satisfaction that they get that they're building something for themselves, you know, and the change in their trajectory from perhaps a job they don't like or a career they don't like or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or even the fact that they don't have a job.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
What's the Dropship Formula community like?
It's got a really good community.
Yeah.
As you will remember, right? You know, the forum or the place where the community has shifted. You know, we used to use Facebook groups, but I've always had a dislike for Facebook groups. I don't think they're the most conducive software platform for that kind of thing. You know, because a lot of the time someone posts a message and then it just gets lost down in the group, and then you get repetition of questions. So we moved the community group to a different software package, Discord. It just helps keep track of messages. So it's a little bit like an old style forum. You remember the old forums that you used to get?
Yeah.
But it's quite a tight-knit community in the fact that people are willing to help each other. You know, because we all start out somewhere, don't we? And we all have most of the same questions. So people that have already been through certain processes will still help the other people that are just starting out and are asking the same sort of questions, or they have the same sort of fears or anxieties and that kind of stuff. And over the years, I've done various different meetups, done an online-only event, done an in-person event, you know, which will probably be something we'll look at doing again in the future.
Have you done one since the one I went to?
No, I haven't done one since. No, there's a lot of overhead, and the one that we did last, we just came out of the whole lockdown COVID restrictions, and then the following year was like crazy high price, low availability for venues, because everyone that had not done like weddings and birthdays and all that kind of stuff for the past 2 years were then able to, and everyone was the supply and demand for venues just shot out the roof, and you know we were fighting to get a venue, and the prices had gone up, nearly doubled, and I was like, it's not worth doing. It's just not worth point doing it, because I either lose a lot of money or everyone has to pay a lot more to attend, and it's not, you know, it didn't seem fair. So I didn't do one, and then I haven't done one since. But what I have done is I have either jumped on a train or got in my car and organised a night out, you know, Manchester, Birmingham, London, that kind of thing, and meet up for a social event. And I love those kind of things, you know, meeting up with people that have joined and just chatting about general life and getting to know people.
I think that was when I met you in person. It was that first meet-up in Birmingham.
In Birmingham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. It was a good time.
So good
night.
Good 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, have a few drinks, socialise, you know. I mean, I'm not one for drinking. I don't really drink at all. I can go months without touching alcohol. But it's nice to be able to talk to people. And one guy summed it up really in the comment, you know, like after the event, one of the meetups. He said, it was really great meeting everyone. It felt like I was surrounded by people that knew exactly how I felt, you know, that understood me.
Yeah.
Because it's a lonely venture online, isn't it?
Yeah.
You start starting your own business. You're testament to this, you know. You spend a lot of time at a computer, just yourself, with your own thoughts. And, you know, there might be things happening in your business, sales might drop, or you might be getting complaints about certain brand, you know, because the brand owner's not taking care of the product quality and things like that. And it's like, where do you turn to? Who do you talk to? So having that community and having people that are like-minded and that have the same goals and aspirations and same outlook as you is great. You know, you can't replicate. You can't substitute that. It's something that is quite unique to our training program that I try and foster, that quite close-knit community. It's hard, but I try and give it as much effort as I can. Whereas, you know, you join a lot of courses and you won't see the course creator even replying to posts.
Yeah.
You know, the one that I joined, the American one.
Yeah.
You hardly ever saw him answering posts, you know. Yeah. But I'm in there daily. I'll check in every day. I'll try and give it an hour in the morning to answer posts, and maybe before I finish, I'll pop in and answer.
Yeah. If you could describe the perfect customer for Dropship Formula, what does that person look like? What are they interested in? What's sort of propelling them towards this sort of online entrepreneurial venture?
Yeah, good question, actually, Ben. I don't think there's characteristics of a person, you know, vary, and everyone varies. We get so many different, such an eclectic mix of personalities. But I think the one thing that unites all those people is that they feel like there's something better, that they want more. Mm. Now, that could be, like I said in previous questions or topics we've talked about, you know, it could be that they have an itch that they want to scratch about starting their own business. It could be that they hate their job and they want to get out of it. It could be that they've got family and their general income isn't enough, but they've reached the ceiling and they want something, you know, more. There's so many different people we get. Now, I think one thing that unites them all is that, or one characteristic that I would encourage people to have at least, is to know that it's not going to be straightforward, that they're willing to work, you know. Okay, there might not be entrepreneurs at that stage. They might be budding entrepreneurs. They may have a desire in them that thinks, you know, this 9-to-5 commute there's got to be more to it. There's got to be more than working for a company that takes all the profits and you just get your paycheck at the end of the day. Because all you're doing is exchanging your time for money, right? In a normal 9-to-5 job, that's what you do. It's an exchange of labour for reward, so cash. So wanting to be able to change that is something that I find a lot of the people that I talk to, especially when I do sales calls, that they have. Mm-hmm. It's like, I have this desire, can you help me with it? You know? And it's like, well, yeah, of course I can. But I also want to make sure it's a good fit for them. So I can explain, right, I'm not going to make any promises. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You need to put in the work. If you can promise that when things get difficult, you can show up, right? You're not just going to turn Netflix on, or you're not just going to think, I'll do it tomorrow. You know, I'm a bit tired today, or, you know, I've had a long day at work and I can't be bothered. Some of the people that have been the most successful are the ones that have showed up. They're putting the work in, like yourself, like Chris. You know, Chris used to get up at 5 a.m. to do calls with me because I was 6-7 hours in front, living out in Southeast Asia. But that desire is what changed his trajectory. It's what changed the direction of what he was doing. You know, he didn't want to work in a 9-to-5. He wanted something different. So he showed up. So I think that's something that unites people. That's the same characteristic, is that they know they want better, but they don't know how to get there. Mm-hmm. And as I said, dropshipping is such a low barrier to entry. It makes much more common sense to start something like that than to risk thousands and thousands of pounds. Yeah. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of pounds to learn what I teach. You don't need to. It's not rocket science. You know, the business model hasn't changed since 2013 for over 10 years that I've been doing it. Yeah, the business model, fundamental, and you'll agree, nothing has changed about dropshipping high-ticket products. Yep. The software's changed. Yeah, Shopify's changed. The features they've moved one button from left to right hand side. They've refreshed everything. You know, like you go in a supermarket and everything's in a completely different place again.
Yeah.
They've done that. Google Ads have done that over and over again. And they rebrand things, you know. So they get Performance Max. Wow, Performance Max, that sounds amazing. I get maximum performance. But do you? It's basically a marketing term by Google so that you hand over more control to them. And they decide where your money's spent, not you.
Yeah.
Well, those are the kind of things you wouldn't not know unless you joined a training program. You join a training program and I'll break that down for you. I'll say, yeah, Performance Max sounds amazing, but in reality, this is what's happening. So here's another way to do it and keep your control and you decide where you spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are the kind of things that I think you wouldn't get if you tried to do it by yourself. You know, I think trying to do it on your own is paramount to, you know, just wasting time, wasting energy and making lots of mistakes. I've made those mistakes. I've wasted hundreds and thousands of pounds on things, figuring out it's the wrong way to do it. Yeah. So if you're teachable, if you're willing to learn, you're willing to put the time in, I think those are the things, the characteristics of what I see generally, the people that make success. I do get the odd people, Ben, you know, that don't have any idea why they want to start their own online business. Mm-hmm. I want to make 100,000 a month. You know, and when I get on the phone, it's quite clear that it's not going to happen. Not going to happen today anyway, you know. And some people I will say, it's not for you. Don't buy the course. I don't want you to be a customer. By all means, buy someone else's course, you know, or come back to me when you've really sat down and thought about why you want to do this. What's your motivation? What's your reasoning? If you want to change something in your life or you've got a desire to learn skills and to empower yourself, then yeah, great, I can help you. But if it's all about, I want to earn lots and lots and lots of money and I want the quickest way to do it, then I can't help you. Because that's not what I offer. And that's not a characteristic of a customer that I want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say resilience is really important.
Yeah.
Because you get all excited at the beginning.
Yeah.
You see the other people who are successful and you're like, I want a bit of that. So you start going through doing the things that are a bit easier to do at the beginning. And you kind of, you start to lose momentum. Something might be a bit tricky and you start to slowly lose a bit of momentum. And it's at that point where you start realizing who you are and how you react to things.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point where you've got to make sure you are one of those people that sort of perseveres with it. Because, as you said, I think the characteristic that unites the people who are successful is that it's that perseverance, isn't it?
Perseverance, patience.
Yeah.
I say this to people. Say, you'll probably learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
In the process of starting a business as well.
Yeah.
Be prepared for that.
Because I've never been tested in those sort of areas. If you're doing a normal 9 to 5, you're not tested in that way.
You're protected, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
In some way. Unless you make a really big mistake and you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
But generally, you're protected.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the employer thinks, if we get rid of them, we've got to find someone else, we've got to train them, blah, 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 you know. They made a mistake, all right, we'll sort it out kind of thing.
Mm.
But when you're on your own,
you
ain't got many people to ask. And it comes back to community, doesn't it? It comes back to having mentors and coaches and stuff like that, which is what we provide. Yeah, and you know, you make some good points about waning enthusiasm or starting the easiest things and concentrating on the small details rather than the bigger details. Again, we see that a lot, and I'm guilty of it. You know, I'm very, very guilty of it. I've had to remind myself recently, go back and read, forget the author's name, the book, The One Thing. I don't know if you've read that one. I can't remember what the author's called. Maybe you'll link to it in the description of it. But great. It's a book I've already read. But, you know, like everybody, over time, with certain things we forget, you know, a little bit like one of those lab rats, you know, that keeps doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, oh yeah, it's not that way, is it? I remember now it's this way.
Yeah.
So I've had to remind myself recently, you know, it's like, focus on what is important. Focus on the things that make the biggest changes, the biggest differences. You know, you might get people that spend days focusing on what colours they want for their logo, what domain name they want.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember that.
Doing all the smaller jobs that are easy wins rather than focusing on one big thing that pushes them forward.
Yeah.
Which is where coaching comes in, you know, which is where one-to-one private coaching helps most people. And I think the vast majority of people that have seen the most success are the ones that have invested in coaching.
Yeah.
You don't need it. Not everybody has it. Some people have 2 or 3 coaching sessions on Google Ads and off they go. You know, Phil, I think, did about 20 calls, but did them intensively. You know, I think I talked about this in our last interview, but when I first started working for a training company in this building, I was very quick to realise that learning something spread over a large span of time is pretty pointless. It's not conducive to learning the skill. So learning something intensively is the best way to gather, to get in the right mindset and to learn the skills that you need to do. Mm-hmm. I'll go back to something that takes me back even further, right? I forget when this was. It might be late 90s, something like that. But there was a TV show. I'm sure the name of it was called Faking It. So the premise of this TV show was basically they took an everyday person that had an everyday job and then intensively trained them, coached them and taught them to be something that they weren't at the start. So you might
vaguely remember this.
So the one that I watched that really piqued my curiosity that I saw, I might have just stumbled upon the channel. You know, when you were, maybe, I don't know, but when I was younger, you only had 4 or 5 when Channel 5 came out. So you didn't have much choice. I think it was a Channel 4 programme. Maybe you can link to this in the description, called Faking It. And they took a painter and decorator and they took him from being a painter and decorator to being an artist. So they had like a 6 to 8 week period or something like that. And they gave him all the best coaching and teaching that they could find within the industry. And then at the end of it, he had to present his work in a gallery and do it and have critics come and look at his work and fool them.
Right.
Fake it.
Yeah.
Right? Mm. So not that he he didn't lie to them, but he got intensively trained and coached in a short period of time from all the leading people within that industry of painters, you know, and artists and whatnot, to teach him everything that he needed to at least get by, to actually make the work, and then to be able to stand in front of a room full of peers and talk to them on that level.
And it worked.
And it worked.
Wow.
Yeah. So they had all different people like that. I can't remember the full of them. Like someone was a vicar and they got him to do something else, and he was a painter, and someone was a builder, and then, you know. And that piqued my curiosity. I was like, because I think it was about the same time when I had this job. I was like, you know, if you dedicate enough time and enough intensity into a subject, and you've got the right people around you that have the experience and knowledge that you need, there's nothing you can't do.
Mm. Yeah.
There isn't.
Mm.
If you want to.
Yeah.
You know? And he obviously had the pressure of having TV cameras on him. So it wasn't like, oh, I can't be bothered today. You know, he'd got to record a little diary and he'd got an end date, he'd got a deadline. So there's all those things that you hear people telling you about on YouTube, things, right, set a deadline, chop things up into small pieces, you know, learn intensively.
Yeah.
But if you, and I had the realisation, it's like, yeah, why do people come and learn things once a week? Because they're here for an hour. It takes them 20 minutes to remember what they did last week.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think the other one was that kind of put all this together for me was the film Matrix. You've seen that?
Yeah.
It's been popularised now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Talking about the Matrix and the whole thing about slave mind and stuff and whatnot. But that film absolutely captivated me. Not for the special effects and the storyline, but the fact that there was this person that had an abundance of skills, but they didn't know it. They had abilities that they'd not used or tapped into. And the only way that the character Morpheus could get that out of him was to encourage him to cross over the line. He was like, I can help you get there, but you've got to make the step kind of thing, you know? And I was like, yeah, if, you know, maybe that everyone has the ability to do something amazing, but they just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
That painter, if you look him up, is an artist. Didn't go back to painting and decorating, just carried on being an artist. But made a living and makes a living out of being an artist. So it completely changed his life. But he had all the right people and the right advice, all condensed into a small time period of learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds just like Chris's experience.
Yeah, yeah, and Phil as well.
Phil, yeah.
Different topic, different subject, but learning intensively, getting intensive coaching and learning and getting all the experience they need to be able to make the right choices and right decisions and know where they're heading and be able to talk the talk and walk the walk at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is in the training, but it's obviously delivered differently. I can't sit down with every member of Dropship Formula and give them that intensive 8 weeks push. Maybe something I'll do in the future, you know, but it's not going to be a cheap price. It's not going to be £895, £1,000. It'll be a lot more.
Sure.